Hey everyone, this is going to be more of a personal video this time. I want to answer a few questions that I'm sure you guys might have, and I also want to look at, where I get my ideas from, and am I actually wrong? So starting off with where I get my ideas from. I am incredibly blessed to have went to an amazing university, and while I was at this university, I attended Mindfulness Club. A friend of mine started it, and every week we'd meet for discussions on topics like consciousness, on free will, on understanding if there are altered states of consciousness, on understanding what reality is, meditating on death, our common mortality, all these incredible topics. And I was surrounded by these brilliant minds who looked at the world through a certain realm. And because of this, I was able to really narrow down my thinking. I was able to narrow down what the truth was, how I should really analyze an idea and break it down to its fundamental components. And it really taught me how to really think. I'm incredibly blessed for that. And those are some topics that are not really talked about in school or in class. And because of that, I'm so blessed to have that kind of opportunity. Second, I am an avid learner. I spend so much of my time reading, learning about the world, learning from other people as well. I've always been talented at math at a young age, but I found people to be my favorite subject. They're so complex, and I've never fully gone to understand them. They have so much complexity, so much deep history surrounding them, so people are an incredibly favorite subject of mine to study. I sound like a scientist when I say that. Next, am I wrong? If you've seen my previous videos on the fundamentals, which is on human nature, on war, on power, on morality, you might have noticed that I look at the world through a certain lens, perhaps. And you might question, am I wrong? What are the other alternate viewpoints out there? And I'll explain them to you right now. So the first alternate viewpoint is the idea of the blank slate, which is that when we're born into this world, we are a blank slate with no recollection of the past and no environmental and evolutionary forces impacting us. Right off the bat, this doesn't have much logical basis. Do you really have no traits inherited from your parents, your grandparents, your ancestors? This already seems faulty to begin with. The next argument is that of the noble savage, which is the idea that humans are essentially good, but it's society and civilization that corrupts us. And this might be attractive at first, because we want to see ourselves as being naturally good and righteous people, angelic, moral people. And I explain it in my video on human nature that there is always a shadow side to things. I didn't really explain where it comes from, so I'll do it right now. So when we're born into this world as children, we are born as a full human with a full range of complexities, with a full range of emotions. Aggressiveness, joy, surprise, all these incredible emotions. But society teaches us to be more angelic. They don't want to see the negative traits. Our parents, our peers, our teachers, all of them tell us to repress such negative, ugly traits like aggressiveness, anger, grandiosity, thinking they were better than other people. And because of this, all of these emotions are repressed at such a young age. So they come out and are leaked at such ugly moments when we don't want them to appear. And we hold certain ideals of ourselves as being good, moral people. So the argument for the noble savage does not have basis in logic, nor does it have basis in evolutionary biology or psychology either. Again, think about it. Society is merely a product of humans itself. So humans themselves are making each other corrupt. This is kind of a weird argument, and I don't subscribe to it by any chance. Now, finally, I want you to understand that I don't want you to think of myself as being some kind of god or some kind of saint, and that somehow I'm immune to power. I'm immune to human nature. I hope you don't take that from this video. In fact, I am incredibly human. I'm incredibly emotional. I'll give you an example of this. If you saw my most recent video on war and human nature, I talked about how I get angry about laziness and the laziness we might see in our culture, in our generation. That instance right there is an example of my emotions getting the best of me and not seeing the world for what it really is. I'll explain a video on generational myopia coming up very soon. And what that pretty much means is that each generation sees itself as being superior to the generation before it and the generation after it. And because of that, I look at the world as saying, I hate my generation, why are they so lazy? But again, that itself is human nature in work. Every generation has seen the generation after as being lazy and not being productive. So that right there shows you an example of my own irrationality, my own emotions getting the best of me, and human nature in work and myself. So I hope that explained a few of my personal views, where I get my ideas from, how I actually look at the world, and whether or not my perspective on the world is actually wrong. And I also just want to make this very clear point that I am not some kind of god, I am not some kind of saint, I am merely human, just like everyone else. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel as well. As always, thanks.